guys. So this is Get It, Got It Good, and we're going on location once again. And we have another Mother's Day honoree because we're celebrating mothers all month long. And we have Sandra Lambert with us, right? She said hi. You know, most of the women that I've chosen for this do not want to go on camera.
Yeah.
Do not want to be spotlighted. However, I feel as though they're doing great things for the community as a whole. And you know, here on Get It, Got It Good, we are about doing outreach programs and doing things for the community, getting education out there. And hence, she has been nominated as an honoree.
Thank you very much.
So, hello, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Going pretty good.
Yes.
All considering.
All considering.
So, you are a mother, and yet you work all the time. Because every time I see you, you're out and about, out and about. How do you balance working this particular job? And we'll go into what exactly she does in a second, but this particular profession and being a mother.
Keeping a good calendar, I think, is primary so that I know who does what and where I'm supposed to be at any given time. And just keeping some kind of a priority of what is most important to me. And this job is very, very important, but being a mother and a grandmother is just as important, if not more important.
Indeed. So this job, you don't only just care for your kids, you have hundreds of kids that you look over and make sure things are in place and safety guidelines and everything else, right?
Yes.
My kids come through this program. So why don't you tell everybody exactly what it is that you do? Because it's a lot.
I am a recreation coordinator or supervisor for Howard County Recreation and Parks. And that involves programming, coordinating, requisitioning, budgeting, hiring coaches, and everything else for different programs. My programs include tackle football, flag football, cheerleading, camps, clinics, rugby programs. I have both touch and tackle rugby programs. And we do this all year round.
All year. So that means when it's wet, when it's raining, when it's snowing, when it's freezing, when I'm in the house comfortable. She's running from location to location all throughout Howard County.
We start leagues at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we can be running a flag football or tackle program at 8 o'clock at night sometimes. And we run every weekend. So
what it's like to me is entrepreneurship, but they call it intrapreneurship or something. I don't even know. Basically, when you are running programs, I don't care in what capacity, you work from sun up to sundown until it gets done, right?
Yes.
So yeah, no matter what. And I know what, cheerleading started today? Registration
opened today for the Red Diamond cheer competition cheer program.
I gotta get used to that.
I know, it's
it's so
we just changed the name, so it's Red Diamond All-Star Competition Cheerleading.
Yeah, okay. I'll be like, I'm one of those terrible mothers who need the whole team together around me because of that balancing thing and getting things done. So I apologize to the coaches already this year. We haven't even started. My bad.
That's okay. The email's coming.
Yes.
I do a lot of emailing. I have it in my phone, so I remind everyone over and over again where we're going, what we're doing, how we're doing it. And then I need somebody to remind me what I need to do.
Well, that's where family comes in. Like, do your husband play a big role in helping manage home life?
Everybody in my family plays a big role. We have a calendar that's on the door. Sometimes I cook. Sometimes I come home and it's already cooked. My girls are both grown. But more than once or twice, you know, one of my daughters will say, hey, we're coming over, and they bring a casserole or whatever with them. We just kind of all work it together.
And the grandbabies.
And the grandbabies. My oldest granddaughter is doing competition baton twirling at the volleyball house, which I also work at because I do volleyball leagues on Mondays as a league coordinator there. So my oldest one does competition baton twirling, so that involves a lot of going and all and doing things. Hey, you know. So
people tell me that's a lot all the time when I'm working, right? So how do you stay motivated and energized? Like, what are some of the tips that you can give women in general? Because I know a lot of times us women, sorry guys, I'll do you guys next month. However, I know us women, we have to care for the hubby. My husband cares for me because I'm terrible. We have to care for the kids. We have to run the businesses. We have to do a lot of stuff. So what are some of the tips you can give?
Ooh, I think that the biggest thing is you do have to find time for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I do try to have that day off. Like yesterday was like my Hallmark day and my American Idol day. You know, it's like I'm not doing anything for anyone. Today is my day sort of thing. And I kind of like zone out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find that time there. And then I think the other thing is just a little bit of knowing how to delegate, whether it's to your family
Mm-hmm.
or with the people that work for you. I'm so blessed that the coaches and the referees and the office assistants and all that I work with are so great and so willing to do things.
Mm-hmm.
And so that makes a big difference too, which, as you know, is really important right now with my foot, in case y'all can't see it. But
she's hobbling along over here.
I decided to fall down some steps, and I'm in a boot now. So this last month, I've been truly blessed because a lot of people have helped me out.
So one of the things that we talk about on a consistent basis here is your team, your network. So how did you go about, because you do the hiring and the firing sometimes.
Luckily, not often.
It's necessary sometimes, you guys. But how do you go about finding the right people and knowing that they'll be a good fit for the company?
Ooh, that's a hard one. With coaches, we do interviews.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you'll do interviews. You do a lot of word of mouth. You do a lot of training. We have a lot of training classes and mandatory requirements, and we have mandatory background checks and all kinds of different things in place.
Working with kids
to make sure that you find the right feel. And then sometimes it's just a matter of going year to year. I've been doing this now 18 years. And so from year to year to year, you just kind of learn how to work it with people and who to welcome back and who you might just say, thank you very much. We've got enough people now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So.
We've had experiences. So you said 18 years.
18 years.
Okay.
That's 18 years with recreation and parks.
How does that work? Like, do you see what's next? Do you know what's next? Do you just love it so much you're just going to stay here until, like, how do you gauge that? Because I always tell people, have an exit strategy. You're not working if you love it. However, you can't do it forever either.
Right.
So
I kind of call myself a jack of all trades.
Mm-hmm.
I actually started as a teacher and then went into the military and did 10 years as a veteran. I'm a veteran now.
Cool.
And then I came back out and
I learned something new.
Taught class again. I taught as a teacher again down in D.C. And worked part-time here and then came here full-time. And when I first came here, I was a preschool director.
Really?
Yes.
So what classes did you teach then in D.C.?
I taught physical education. That was my major was actually physical education, recreation, and military history.
So then it just
I
all
went
blends.
to school for forever.
Well, how did you go from being a teacher to deciding, okay, because most people go into military right after high school. Mm-hmm. So how did you go from teaching, which is a profession, and most people go because they need money, right, into...
I was in college, and while I was in college, I did the ROTC program.
Okay.
My dad is a veteran, did 31 years in the military. So I went into college, I did the ROTC program. I came out of the ROTC, and I taught high school for a year, and decided that I wasn't quite ready at 20-something years old to teach high school, and didn't know where I wanted to go from then, because that was always my plan, was that I was going to teach and coach. So I joined the military and loved it. So I did 10 years in the military, had 2 daughters, and decided that I needed to invest in them. So I separated out of the military and went back to teaching again, because that had been my original plan.
So, from experience, I was 14, 15 years old, and we had a teacher, a dance teacher nonetheless, who was 21, right?
Mm-hmm.
In high school. So I noticed as a young teacher straight out of school and dealing with some seniors who are 18 and you're 21, there's a little bit of friction sometimes.
It's a matter of getting to the point that you understand yourself before you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to. For me, it was, I should say. For me, it was a matter of getting to the point that I knew myself before I got to the point that I was trying to teach, especially older children.
Mm-hmm.
It was one thing to do the younger children, but when you're trying to have that background and have that knowledge for older children, I just didn't feel that I was there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Patience-wise, information-wise, the whole gamut. So I decided that I would go into the military. My dad always said that the military will make a man or a woman out of you.
Mm-hmm.
So I went into the military and
it worked out.
And it worked out for me.
So I've been through that experience. I actually started teaching at Homewood,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
Which is not the easiest school to start, but I was doing a dance program there first.
Mm-hmm.
And that was interesting, but I decided really quick. I actually like teaching high schoolers and elementary schoolers.
Uh-huh.
You got to be a special breed for all my teachers out there to teach middle schoolers. I'm sorry, I've taught in every level, but middle schoolers, y'all are special.
My granddaughter is in 8th grade.
Yeah, y'all are special. That's okay. I have enough at home. I'm done with it. I'm sorry. I praise you guys.
They're just at that stage where they're not youngsters anymore, but they're not grown, but they feel grown. And so you have to have a lot more patience with them at that stage.
So going through all of these transitions, right? How did your kids react to mommy being a professional?
I was really lucky with most of the jobs that I had supervisors that were very good and very family oriented. Mm-hmm. So my children were almost always a part of my personal life and my work life. You know,
Mm-hmm.
They came to my job. They knew what I did. Many times they helped with what I did. If I had forms that needed to be folded, they folded forms. If I had, with Recreation and Parks, many people know my children would be out there helping to put down the cones or helping to fold cheerleading uniforms or count cheerleading uniforms. So I kind of made them a part of it so that they could be with me sometimes. And also I think that it helped them to instill some work ethics because both of my daughters ended up working when they were like 15 years old. And my oldest daughter ended up being a general manager for McDonald's when she was a junior in college.
See?
They hired her.
So speaking of implementing your kids in work, right? How do you feel about, legacy building and some of those lessons that you should teach children as growing up? Because I know a lot of entrepreneurs and there's a difference in mindset. Don't get mad at me, y'all. There's a difference in mindset between the haves and the have-nots when it comes to the knowledge that you teach your kids. So I'll just leave it at that. But what are some of the lessons that you feel as though should be implemented or taught to the next generation?
I think one was what I talked about is ethics, whether it's at home or at work or whatever. My children learned early that this is your room and I'm not paying you to clean your room. That's part of your rent. And so you're expected to do that portion. They also, once they started working, I got them a bank account. And when my daughters were 16, I got them a credit card. And I kept possession of the statements. They could use the credit card. And at the end of the month, they had to pay me whatever they spent on their credit card so that the credit card got paid. As a matter of fact, my oldest daughter, when she was a junior in college, as I said, she got a job. She went to purchase a car. And my husband went with her and thought that he was going to have to sign paperwork. And the guy looked at him and said, her credit is better than yours. Because she learned early and I established,
those principles,
so that they could learn early what it meant to handle their finances, because I thought that was important.
I think that's awesome. So many people do not understand personal finances. So many people, we were talking about how parents sign their kids' names to BGE bills and stuff, and ruin kids' credits, and we were talking about the good way, that you can have them as a co-signer on a card as long as you are stable yourself and build their credit. But I think that's an awesome idea to have them have that, and that still gives you time to teach them and them to have mistakes.
My daughter, one of them, the younger one, decided one month to spend a little bit more than she had at the end of the month to pay me, and I took the credit card from her.
Yeah.
And once you finish paying me, then you can have the credit card back. And it was a very important lesson for her to realize that the credit card is not, something that falls from the sky and you can
It's not free money, y'all.
That she has to pay the bill.
Cool. See, so there's a reason that successful people breed successful kids, and it goes generational, because it's these concepts that you teach to the next generation. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
I never actually thought of that one.
Yeah. My dad, as I said before, my dad was old school military, and there were 6 of us, and we learned very, very early that you had to find a job and you had to take care of business, and so I get what I got from my father, so I think that that's important.
Awesome. So I'm trying to teach some of my older kids now because they feel as though, because so I started having kids early, and so you grow up with your kids and you learn different things, and you're a different parent at older age than you are at a younger age.
I agree.
And so I think those are some good techniques. So you guys take this, re-listen to it, and get some advice from it. But we are about out of time, you guys. So I want to thank you for taking the moment off, because you see we're on location, so people gotta work. But taking the time out to join us today.
Hey, I enjoyed it. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for inviting me to be a part of your Mother's Day.
Awesome, of course. So as always, you guys, be an original, because an original is always worth more than a copy. Bye.
Bye.